All right, 1 second here. All right, 1 second here. All right, welcome everyone to this Q&A. Again, want to welcome everyone. It's Q&A. A few things to talk about. Probably when we get to one, only because whatever has to be dealt with, I guess. I mean, I think the other one's just as important, but we'll discuss it. We'll discuss it anyway. At least this topic. Topic comes up every so often. Needs to be addressed. And what is that? What is that topic? That topic is social media, right? You'll say, okay, what happened now? Right? So what happened now on social media? So basically, a whole bunch of people have sent basically videos gone viral, or some videos gone viral about something that happened in New York. 770 East Parkway. Anyone know 77 East Parkway? It's head of Lubavitch headquarters. So there's a whole thing going on there. Tunnel underneath the shul. There's a tunnel going, I don't know, down, around, across the street, whatever it is. So the whole thing. Basically the shul now gets shut down. So I got these videos going around where, people making all kinds of conjecture. Saying all kinds of things. What the tunnel is for. They're like Hamas, and they're escaping. Where are they going? What are they needed for? Someone made a clear-cut video. Very clear-cut video. What's going on? Very simple. There are two factions. Two factions have been in court, never been settled about expanding the synagogue. Right? That's where the Lubavitch Rebbe was. That's where the headquarters is. Chabad, tens of thousands of people come there, every year. Hundreds of thousands of people go there. Let's say Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, during the holidays, place packed. Right? Understandable. Place is totally packed. So there's been discussion about expanding. It's just too small of a place. I think that makes sense. Okay, so you get two factions, back and forth in court. Nothing's been settled. Right? This is, nothing's been settled. Nothing's been settled what to do. So some kids, yeshiva students took law in their own hands. So what they do, there's a mikveh, an old mikveh, I guess, across the streets, whatever it is, and they started digging, breaking walls, without any permission from anybody. They ended up digging this tunnel. I don't know, went into the women's section or something. So it seems the idea was, okay, they're going to do it themselves. We got this whole discussion going on. It's in court for years. Nothing's changed. So some people are going to take the law in their own hands. So they built this whole thing. Whatever they dug underneath, no permission. No permission from the city. No permission from anybody. Right? They're doing what they want. It wasn't an escape route. It wasn't, it was the whole thing to try and expand the synagogue. That's what it was. That's what it is. So the police had to get involved. Why did the police have to get involved? Illegal construction. That's why they have to get involved. Don't ever, who said they're right? They're underneath city property. Yeah. Who said they have a right? So essentially that's the story. Right? Essentially that is the story. So what's the media doing? They're making a whole mess of it. I was like, Hamas is like this. That seems to be the story. So, people say, okay, what's the reaction? What should we do? What should we say? What should we say to other people? Why are you on social media? That's my question. Bad enough I'm on it. Yeah. I think they're looking for scandals, other things. Goodness sake. It has a place. Okay. It has a place. People waste a lot of time on it. Whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. Right? Total waste of time. People see what people put up and pictures and this and that. You can say, okay, people put up videos. People put up Torah videos. They want to spread things. They want to do outreach. So I tell people, you want to be in social media, I'll give you 10 minutes a day. You want to spread things through Jewish outreach, very good. Make people aware what's going on. In Torah, okay. 20 minutes, maybe. 20 minutes. Person needs more than that. See, here's something, it's like the whole world's falling apart. That's what it sounds like. Whole bunch of people that gotta speak about this. You gotta get out the truth. You gotta get people to understand. What do we say to people? How do we answer people? Let me ask you. You know what Rashi said in last week's parsha? You know how to properly make blessings without making mistakes? Without having questions to go to Rabbi Dr. Google? Try to keep kosher properly in your house. How to use an oven for milk and meat. You how to do that properly? No questions asked? What the issues are? What in the world are you wasting time on this? And what does that have to do with anything? You say the desecration of God's name. Jews throwing, protesting and whatever. Makes it look really bad. You're right, it does. I have to answer? Someone's going to ask me about it. Say, I don't follow social media. I don't know what's going on in the world. You have to get involved? Or what have you get involved for? A JIT, a Jew in training, a Jew's coming back to Judaism, whatever. Cares? Cares about this stuff? Really matters? I can throw out 100 questions in the next 30 seconds. No one's going to be able to answer. And they're basic questions. You should go back in the hole that you crawled out of and cried to and have tears because you won't be able to answer. That's important. That is important. Well, tell me someone, what's going on? Oh, it's desecration of God's name, this, that. What should we do? What should we say? Who the heck cares? As we'd say in Boston. Who cares? It's a waste of time. You're going to get upstairs after 120 years. You're going to have to answer for what you did. How much time we wasted. You spend that time learning Torah and not doing other things. Right, it's gone viral. Yeah, it's gone viral. It looks bad. I would agree. Protesting against the police, they're doing their job. That's what they're doing. People took the law in their own hands. We don't live in a Hefker Welt. We don't live in an ownerless world. Because you don't like what's going on, doesn't give you the right to use public property and think underneath the shoulder, whatever. That's simple. You don't need me to say that. You need anyone to say that. Isn't that obvious? So why'd they do it? I can give you 100 reasons why they did it. Not one of them is because they had rabbinic authority to do it. It's insanity. It's a waste of time. An absolute waste of time. Someone wants to say, you gotta be up to date, you gotta know what's going on, this and that. Someone mentions very good. The mayor in New York City shutting down schools for migrants. Yeah, that's the biggest story. That's a scary thing. It's scary problem, all are pretty scary. You think about it. But I'm not gonna deal with that either. Americans just flushing themselves straight down the toilet. Whatever, that's a whole nother discussion. That's a whole nother discussion. I get it. People want to post things. I'm saying even for the sake of having. They want to get Torah out there. They want people to see it. They want to pass it on to others. Very good. How much time can you spend doing that? See people making videos, stuff they probably don't know anything about, just mimicking other people. What are you wasting time for? What in the world? And everyone's like caught up in this whole thing. What do I answer? What do I say? What do you have to say? What's your obligation to say anything? There's no obligation to say boo. Nothing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Does it look bad as a desecration of God's name in a certain way? Could very well be. I mean, what the media's going to say is going to be totally different anyway. What everyone's going to watch, you're going to see. Yeah, people protesting, people throwing things. I mean, that's insanity. Anyone going to say it's right? No. That's the story. One thing people have to keep in mind, whatever happens, I had someone tell me during COVID, there was a funeral for a big rabbi in New York. They had permission from the police to have this big funeral during COVID. And then the police reneged on it. It was a whole thing. So someone says to me, I hope you wouldn't do that. I said, I don't. I do what I'm supposed to do. But the whole by social distancing, whatever. I did what I had to do. That was it. That was it. Now, does that make everybody look bad? All Jews look bad? Could. Someone would ask me, you have a small funeral. People were terrified what was going on. Back in the day. I don't care if people want to say it's a conspiracy thing, not this, that, whatever, it doesn't matter. People were afraid. It was hysteria, essentially. Yeah, you got to do this, you got to do that, so you don't get it, and you might die. None of it proved effective. Made the medical establishment look really stupid. That's what it did. Whether the numbers were spiked or not, doesn't matter. There were, as someone here points out, there are a lot more serious things going on. True. But even with that, I'm going to shut the schools down for 3 days. So, migrants can sleep in the gym or whatever. That's a much bigger issue. I would agree. It's a much bigger issue. I'm still going to say the same thing. Who cares about that? Yeah, if your kids were out of school, you care more. Okay? That's probably true. It'll make more of an impression. Because more practical, hit you right in the face. Okay? A lot of other things, I would say most other things that probably don't affect us in the least. What does that have to do with our lives? What in the world does that have to do with our lives? Nothing. Coffee talk. Gives people what to say, what to comment on, what to make a video about. Mind-boggling. This is why today people can't sit and learn. People can't sit and think because their mind goes all over the place. It's like everyone's got ADHD. They're from this thing, that thing, the other thing, images, videos, all this stuff. Yeah, they're into too many things that don't make any sense and doesn't matter. Once the person's already been exposed, yeah, you want to go sit and learn? Good luck. Need your mind. Need to concentrate. Plenty of things are hard to learn. You can't have your mind turned to mush. And today, everyone's mind is turned to mush. In my language, you got their heads stuck up their phone so much they sneeze and blow the brains out. Gonna miss an email. Gonna miss what someone commented. Listen, it comes in handy. You got Waze on there. You do shopping, online banking. Yeah, a lot of good things. A lot of good things. The statistics out there about all this are very scary. Very scary. A couple years ago, probably a year ago, year and a half ago, maybe, or a couple years ago, I heard a Pesach Crone, whatever, talk about this. And what the statistics are. It was saying, let's say what he's quoting is true, right? I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. 4 hours a day. 4 hours a day. Person's on their phone, not talking. Either texting, watching things, whatever it is. 4 hours a day. Now let's do the math. Let's say you do that 7 days a week, probably on the weekend it's probably more. Yeah, if you're not keeping Shabbos. Yeah. 4 hours a day is 28 hours a week. That's 1 full day plus 8 hours. Right? Let's say. Now, multiply by that by 4. Yeah, what do you get? Right, so let's say it's 28. So you got 28. 28 times 4 is a month, is 112. Yeah, it's 112 hours. It's 2 full days. It's 2 full days. Right? 1 day, 6, sorry, 24 hours. Sorry, I got 3. It's 5 full days almost. It's almost 5 full days a month. Let's just say 5. We'll round it up. 5 times 12 in a year. Let's say you're consistent. I'm not even talking about extra hours on the weekend. That's 60. Right? That is 60. 60 days. 2 months. A little more than 2 months. 2 months. A year. A person is watching videos or texting or whatever on their phone. 2 months out of the year. Full months. Multiply that by however many years. I want to say 40 years? I want to say 50 years? That is insane. Those statistics are insane. Over a 40-year lifetime, you have years. You have years that have been wasted just doing that. So after 120 years, the person dies. God's going to ask him to learn my Torah. I didn't have time. I was so busy working. Right? Family obligations, it's that. God's going to say, okay, let's play the video here. Let's say how many, hours or whatever you're watching things on your phone. You think God, because he can do anything at any time? So God does all the math. He takes care of all the math. And God says, oh, by the way, you lived, I don't know, 77 years. You had 4 years, this is what you did of your life. You're going to tell me enough time to learn Torah? 4 years. Accumulation of time, of wasted time. That you had time to do. Learning my Torah, you didn't have time. 4 years. Let's make it a little more graphic. Yeah. How many days in a year? Let's say 365. Right? You got 365 days. Right? So let's have some fun here. You get 24 hours. Right? So you got 60 minutes in an hour. Right? 60 minutes an hour times 24 hours. Yeah, you got 1,440. How many minutes? We're going to try and calculate the minutes here, right? Right. So if that's the case, here times 365, 525,600 minutes in a year. Multiply that by, let's say 4. Right? We said 4 years. I'm being generous. 2,102,400 minutes. And you're going to tell me, God says, you're going to tell me you didn't have time? You didn't have time over your lifetime to learn Torah? You're too busy with work and, family obligations? You had 2 million minutes. 2 million minutes. To sit there and fry your brain. That's why you couldn't learn Torah. That's why you couldn't do anything. Because you spent all those minutes frying your brain. Mind-boggling. Person will say, no, I'm just scrolling, just looking at this for a sec. Adds up. Time adds up. But it used to be, what was the attention span of a person? The attention span of a person used to be how long they would watch a commercial for. How long was it? Sorry, for a commercial. Back in the day, how long were commercials? 6 minutes. That's the attention span. Today, commercials are just, you're being flashed images. Boom, 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 boom. Images, people talking fast, this, that. Why? Because no one's got time to hear a message. They have to see something. They have to, be thrown things at you to keep your attention. What does that tell you? Nobody has attention span today. Don't even say with ADHD. No one has attention span. They want to be flashing. They want to be entertained. Very quick. You get 2 seconds. Grab their attention. What image you going to show? What hook you going to give? That's how you going to draw people. Right? Advertisers know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. But to sit down and think and to analyze, what does this mean? What does that mean? How does it apply? Doesn't it apply? Should it apply? It's a lot more difficult to do if your brain is fried. You can now train yourself. It's not an easy thing. Imagine, when I went to yeshiva many years ago, we had grueling schedules during the week. Maybe had a couple classes in the morning, maybe a class in the afternoon, right? Let's say, maybe had 3 classes in one day, maybe. Grueling schedule. How long is the class? An hour? 45 minutes? Maybe longer, maybe shorter. That's it. Your day's done. Your day's over. Now the question is, am I going to study? What's the homework? Different things. Okay. Going to yeshiva is a whole different thing. Or a girl going to seminary is a whole different thing. They get scheduled all day. Guys are learning Gemara mostly in the morning. Maybe they're learning other things as well, right? The morning, afternoon, whatever it is. This is not for an hour and a half. This is an all-day thing. It's a whole different ballgame. By the end of the day, your mind is shut. Why is your mind shut? Because you're sitting there thinking, analyzing, just sort of absorbing. You got to put yourself in. You got to work out the text. You got to see what it's saying, what it's not saying. Why they disagree? Why do they agree? That's what learning is. That's using your brain. But that's going on all day. Looking girls also learn a lot. Also have, in the morning, afternoon, different things. One thing that's growing is what, is what men do, but okay. There's a focus, right? That's really the point. There's a focus. What am I doing here? What is my purpose? Is my purpose here to be a space cadet? Just take everything from the outside? And whatever I get, I get. Whatever I don't, whatever, I'll spit out. I'll get rid of. You see, impurity, the Torah says, impurity is compared to what? The devek. What is devek? Glue. Impurity sticks to you. What I mean sticks to you means it sticks to your soul. When it sticks to your soul, it's very hard to get rid of. The garbage is always there. As much as you want to get rid of it, it's still there. It's somewhere deep in your psyche, hopefully buried somewhere, which will never come out again. Why does the Torah use that language? Torah uses that language one very simple reason, to teach you that stay away from this stuff. Because if you don't stay away from this stuff, it sticks. It never disappears. Just like people were saying in the beginning, I said the same thing. After October 7th, people want to see these images and different things. Those images are there forever. They're there forever. They never disappear. They may be buried. Hopefully they're buried. A lot of other things people have seen hopefully are buried. But we have this thing, we want to see things in real time. Yeah. And guess what? There are images that a person should never see. That are way too graphic. And some people have nightmares. They don't think it can happen to them, they still have nightmares. They will absolutely have nightmares. All the more so someone actually saw it. Can you imagine what they gone through? Can't even imagine. But we're all seeing things in real time. See wars in real time, other things in real time. You don't have to wait for the news, 6 o'clock or 11. I'm not saying, I'm not saying it's a good thing. But we have this crave to know. Might miss something. A friend of mine once said, if there's a war, I'll find out about it. Other people say it's good to be well-rounded, to know what's going on in the world. If I asked someone, I said, are you happier now you watch the news? Now you know what's going on? You're much happier? They said, no, it's very depressing. Thank you very much. This one's corrupt. The other one's corrupt. This happened. That happened. What's the matter? You'll say everything's done for the sake of the Jewish people. True. We got to learn from these things. Okay. Right? We have to take notes of what goes on. Some people out there would be news junkies, sports junkies, they need all the up-to-date information or whatever. They have a day. It's pretty amazing. Think about it. They have a day, the person just shut off their phone the whole day. Or like they're not attached to a computer for the day. Whether it's for work or whatever, but let's say, right? They have a day, just like detach. It's like detox, right? Detach from anything electronic. Not so easy. The world we live in. Definitely not so easy. Well, let's think over here. It's not a bad idea. One day. One day. Don't have anything to do with it. Because the reality is, for us who want to draw close to God, what is this? It's a distraction. This is a huge distraction. Again, it could be so interesting. You see, look, we shut down the synagogue. Because some Jews giving them a hard time. Like, what's really going on? Media's giving their spin like this, or like that, or like the other thing. Right? What's the real story? Interesting. Makes us look really bad. I don't think there's any question about it. Makes us look pretty bad. So, I have to do all the research so I know what to answer somebody, what to say, maybe. Maybe it's good to know what's going on. So you know what to answer, maybe. Right? You don't want to make a desecration of God's name. Say, why? You don't know what's going on. You didn't even see the people you want to be part of. Look what they do over here. Right? Isn't it good what to have to answer? Maybe. Isn't there something better to do with your time? I would think. I was in the States last year. One question someone asked, this is already after, the right-wing government took over. I was like, no, what do you think about the right-wing government? I don't know the politics. I mean, I know what's going on here and there, but not as much as I used to be. And I don't even vote. I didn't tell them that. I don't vote for a lot of reasons. But it doesn't matter. It's not the majority opinion. Not the majority opinion. Most rabbis here in Israel will say you have to vote. Because otherwise, if you don't vote, it'll be much worse. True. But there is a lot of truth to that. But what happens? You're the government, and there's desecration of Shabbos going on right under your nose. So you should leave the government. Why don't they leave the government? So you say, well, they're getting kickbacks. What are they getting? What are they? They must be getting something not to leave. Because they know this is going on. They know it's not vital. They're building railroad tracks, whatever. The government says, yeah, this is vital for Shabbos. That's a great Shabbos. Not vital. Definitely not vital. So how can an ultra-Orthodox Jew, their political religious party or religious political party, whatever it is, how can they sit there with him? They know right under their nose is what's going on. So why don't they, so I think get out of the government. To get out of the government will fall. The government for sure will fall. So you do that, goes back to elections, and stalemates, this, that. You can't let the left take over, okay? The left's going to throw its, sell us down the river. True. Right? So again, I'll ask the question. Are you allowed to sit there with people that for sure heretics, nothing to talk about? Are you allowed to sit there knowing full well, as an Orthodox Jew, under your government that you're a part of, there's open desecration of Shabbos? Things that are done, openly desecrate Shabbos. Now you know that. So I'll ask the $1.5 million question because I want to up the ante. I'll ask the question. How can they sit there? Rabbi would say, better to be in the opposition. Why? Because if you're in the opposition, you don't have your hand in that. Guilty by association. Well, people will say, but if you can be part of the government, you get more money for yeshivas, more money for things that we need. That's true. Right? That is definitely true. And you can help other things, as well, not just about money. Okay, so what is the price? What is the price you're going to pay for this? Now, the majority opinion, again, let's make clear. The majority opinion, certainly here in Israel and other places, would be, amongst rabbinic authorities, would be you have an obligation to vote. If you're an Israeli citizen, you got to vote. And you vote for a religious party, but you have to vote. Because if you don't vote, it could be much worse. True. Right? That is the majority opinion. My Rabbi would say, no. Why? Because you're in cahoots with people that want to throw this country under the ground. They want to uproot Torah and mitzvahs. But if you're not there, it'll be worse. Okay. But if they're doing things that violate Torah, and you have an opportunity to stop it, and you turn the other way. And you turn the other way, the consequences are much worse. I'll give an example. Right? Unless I want to get into politics, but I'm going to bring this point up. Many, many years ago, there were ultra-Orthodox Jews in control here in Israel, and the government were in control of the Ministry of Interior. One of the things the Ministry of Interior does is they have a say who comes in, who comes out, right? Who's allowed to live here, who's not allowed to live here. Yeah. They have criteria. I'm not saying it's the greatest criteria here, but whatever, they have criteria. Bottom line, during this time, more than 1 million Russians came to Israel. More than 1 million. 90% of these Russians were non-Jews. The government knew that. The ultra-Orthodox Jews in the Ministry of Interior knew that. They knew that they're non-Jews. Non-Jews are coming here to live. You don't give them a portion of the land. Why the Arabs are here, whatever, that's a whole discussion. But you don't give them a place to live. You can't overset the whole point is you need a majority of Jews. That's the whole point of the state of Israel. It's a democracy, okay. But you don't want to offset. You 100%. You do not want to offset what's going on. You want to have a majority of Jews. Now, ultra-Orthodox Jews know these are non-Jews coming in. I understand why the government let them in. Because who's the government afraid of? Us. They're afraid of ultra-Orthodox Jews. Because they know they're not having any kids. We're having 6, 7, 8 kids per family. They're afraid we're going to take over. So they bring in all these non-Jews. They'll work. They'll be part of society. They'll vote for these parties. That's why the government brought them in to offset us. That there's nothing to talk about. The ultra-Orthodox Jews there who look the other way. They know what the issue is. So my Rabbi said on that, now it's not clear what the connection is per se, but he said he made a protest. He made a protest about this many, many years ago. Because he didn't want to get upstairs after 120 years. The God's going to say, hey, how come you didn't protest? You knew this was going on. How come you didn't say anything, even if no one's going to listen? So some people say, we don't protest today. That's not the way. A lot of rabbinic authorities hold that. Yeah. Brisker Rav didn't hold that. Other great rabbis didn't hold that. Okay. Nonetheless, tell you what the bottom line is. Even if no one's going to listen, sometimes you're going to protest anyway. The Rabbi said, I don't want to get upstairs after 120 years. God said you could have done something you didn't, even if no one else would have listened. Okay. But the Rabbi said further. He said, because all these Russians were let in, Got all these Russians being let in. So he said that's the reason we have a problem with the Arabs today. He said this 20 years ago, more. Now, you can ask the question, well, what's the connection? What's the connection to the fact they're going to have a problem with the Arabs and you're letting in all these non-Jews? He wanted to say like this. He wanted to say, these non-Jews coming in, why are they leaving Russia? Or let's say better, former Soviet Union. Why are they leaving? Because this is a lot better place to live. Get better benefits. Weather's better also, right? But there's a lot more opportunity here. There's a lot more freedom here. No question. But there's one other thing. See, these Russian non-Jews coming. He said, if there's ever, God forbid, a war, if there's ever a war, some nation against Israel, whoever it's going to be, he wanted to say, who are these Russians going to fight with? They're going to fight with the Israelis? Or they're going to fight with everyone else? He goes, what do you mean? They're coming to Israel, getting benefit. They're no lovers of Israel. They're definitely no lovers of Israel. They're definitely no lovers of Jews. Or any fixed Judaism, anything, religious. Right? That's the way they're born and bred. Right? They're the biggest people trying to import pork here. God forbid, like they do without it. No, grew up on it. Of course. They're the biggest ones wanting to eat it and bringing it in, contaminating the country. But he said, if God forbid there's ever a war, which side are they going to go to? It's like having an enemy right in your own place that you brought in. But who are they going to align with? The religious or the anti-religious? The anti-religious. So the government brings them in to offset us. That's the point. Well, these people are pure poison. Not a question they're going to work the land, they're going to be here, productive people in society and this and that. They're not great lovers of Jews, let me tell you. But why are they going to be here? They're going to live in their own communities also, but why are they going to be here? Because it's a lot better place to be. Anyone who's ever lived in the former Soviet Union or any place like that, they'll get out if they could. It's like in a revolving cycle, they can't get out. But if they could get out, have a better life, of course they would leave. Why would anyone leave? Unless they're totally brainwashed. Of course they would leave. But they come here, they give Israeli society a big problem. In a lot of ways. So it makes sense why the government brought them in. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, but, my Rabbi said, it's a danger. It's a total danger. Because they could go to the other side. They're not like waving the Israeli flag. They're not kissing the Israeli flag. Oh, we love Israel, this and that. They're here for benefits. That's why they're here. They're here for benefits. To have a better life. So that mean they're loyal to the land? No. It does not mean that. Right? They're certainly against Orthodox Jews. That there's nothing to talk about. That's nothing to talk about because they hate anything that has to do with religion. So who are they going to sign up with? Sign up with the left. That's who they're going to sign up with. Rabbi says that's the danger. So my Rabbi says, this is what I'm interpreting. Yeah, you bring these people in. You don't think it's going to, bring about God's anger? He's going to bring in anger from somewhere else. And the Jews will get punished somewhere else. Who are they going to get punished by? The Arabs. And they'll have a tax and different things. Because you're polluting the land. So, you want to pollute the land? You want to bring these people in and pollute the land? Yeah, I'm going to put in, I'm going to have these other guys, other thugs over here, right? I'm going to have them cause all kinds of damage. They'll remind you. Now, some people would say, there's no connection. The Israelis brought them in for a reason. Very clear. It's very, very clear why. You want to say no direct connection to the Arabs, this and that. Keep one thing in mind. Rabbi said, a lot, many, many times. And he keeps emphasizing and saying it's not a problem with Hezbollah. It's not a problem with Hamas. The problem is people who live in Israel sin. And you got the government, the Arab, the mixed multitude, whatever you want to call them, trying people to go off and having their own agenda and trying to uproot Judaism as much as they can. That's their agenda. As a big time leftist, it was the government many years ago said, well, we're done with the Arabs, we're going to take care of the Orthodox Jews also. That's what everybody thinks. That's what they think. They don't have anything to do with us. They have no choice. They have to deal with us. We got a lot of power now. We got power in numbers. Are they any lovers of us? People say, oh, the right wing and the ultra-Orthodox parties, they go hand in hand. Yeah, because they're better than the left. That's it. Have they thrown us under the bus many times? Sure. No question. So my Rabbi would say, okay, you got to tell me it's better to be in the government because it's going to be worse. Okay. So the question is going to be like this. If you know it's desecration of Shabbos, how can you sit there? Aren't you guilty by association? I'll tell you another story. I'll tell you one other story. I'll take questions. Yeah. Many, many years ago, I was by a wedding. One of my Rebbe's grandkids got married. So, whatever, I was at this wedding. All of a sudden, a few of his grandkids see me, put me up against the wall and say, hey, weren't there were 5,000 conversions went through the chief rabbinate in the army. There were conversions in the army that the chief rabbinate stamped their approval of. There was no Kabbalah's mitzvahs. None of these people took on the yoke of heaven. None of them took on mitzvahs. 5,000. Pretty much a one shot. They said, do you have anything to do with this? I'm like, no. My hands are clean. I don't deal with people here. My hands are clean. You got nothing on me. Get off me. But you got nothing on me. Now let me ask you. I've come in contact with a few people. Someone contacts me. And he says, yeah, I'm dealing with, I don't know how they got my number, whatever. They said, yeah, this girl I'm interested in, and she converted to the army. So I said, okay. So I said, what's the problem? He says, well, she doesn't really dress modest. I said, okay. She keep kosher? Not really. Shabbos? Not really. I said, so why do you have anything to do with her? Well, she said she converted to the army. I said, okay, let me ask you again. Is this girl religious? He goes, well, she doesn't appear to be. Yeah? So how can the conversion be good? I said, oh, that's why you're coming to me. You want to know how the conversion is good. If she doesn't keep mitzvahs, she never intended to keep mitzvahs, she's not Jewish. So I said, let me ask you a question. I said, okay, you find out this girl, you attract this girl, very good. And I find out she's not Jewish. Right? The conversion's bad. This happens a dime a dozen. Dime a dozen. A rabbinic court judge for divorce. Right? I pretty much see every day. When I go learn, he once told me, or I asked him, in a kibbutz, there are a few kibbutzim here in Israel, they do conversion. They teach them whatever, they go to chief rabbinate, they convert them. So I said, how many of these conversions do you think are good? So he said, Hashem Mirachim, right? God should have mercy. So I said, come on, give me a number. So give me some number, give me something. He said, 1 in 1,000. That's what he told me, 1 in 1,000 are good. So he said, when they do a bill of divorce, and they know someone converted to this, to this kibbutz, even though they went through chief rabbinate, they don't even make a real bill of divorce, because the person's not Jewish. They just whatever. They'll write it up. They won't know the difference, and they'll, that piece of paper won't be worth anything that's written on it. That's what he told me. So now I'll ask you. Chief Rabbinate, stamps approval of 5,000 converts who do not take on the yoke of heaven, do not take on mitzvahs. So that's why every son I said, listen, I want a piece of that action. It's like that money you don't want. It's like that money you don't want. How can it be? How can it be? How can they look the other way? They're getting some kickback somewhere. They know what's going on. I mean, they can't not know what's going on. They say, yeah, these people thought they took on enough things, this, that. You gotta say individual cases, whitewashed. 5,000, they whitewashed. I'm not gonna say other people were involved. Yeah. Other people over involved. That were involved. That is a scary thing. That is a very scary thing. So, you can say, well, it's corruption, everything, right? It shouldn't be over here. Not when it comes to conversion. It should be done on the up and up. It's crazy. Can't make this stuff up. So, where's integrity? Where's integrity? Ha. Should be integrity. You're putting your name on something, you're calling someone who's Jewish to take on anything? Yeah, I will. Let me see if there are any questions here. 1 second. Yeah, someone here asked, well, okay, social media, I said that. Right? Someone says, yeah, what a waste of time, social media. Yeah, very good. Somebody asked, okay, does that have anything to do with Cain and Abel? Cain and Abel, a whole different story, what their argument was. What their argument was that Cain got up and killed him. The Jewish people, the Gemara says, Kol Yisrael Ravim Zeh L'Zeh. We're all intertwined. Right? We're all intertwined. So the problem is when a Jew does something wrong, if he's a secular Jew, makes all Jews look bad. If he's an Orthodox Jew, 10 times worse. Because we're supposed to know better. I mean, you see a video of like, how in the world you see, you can see people, the police come in and you're throwing stuff at them. You see there are protests also. But Rabbi would say, okay, you want to protest. Who said you're allowed to vandalize property? People have their own ideas, which are wrong. Simply they're wrong. We are responsible, each Jew is responsible for everybody. We're all intertwined. So you're going to say, but you can't stop everybody, and there'll be a desecration of God's name and all that, yeah? So we have to the best of our ability, we have children, educate them the best way possible. Try and have influence on other people as much as we can. Because if we do things wrong, or we let it go, or we don't say anything, that's a lot worse. That's why, in the advice of what to do with the Jewish people when they're in Egypt, Job was one of the advisors to Pharaoh, right? Job, Yisro, and Bilam. Job didn't say anything. So what was his punishment? He saw him, suffered. Why did he suffer? He didn't say like Bilam enslaved them and killed them or whatever. Bilam got killed. Very good. It wasn't that bad, yeah. But the problem is he didn't say anything. He was neutral like Switzerland, right? He didn't say anything. He should have protested. Right? Yisro said, don't do anything. Leave him be. He fled. Job didn't say anything. He didn't stick up for them, nothing, so he suffered. He got suffered. So we have an obligation to try and have influence on others as much as we can. To make sure this stuff doesn't happen. Yeah. I can have bad eggs, yeah. Yeah, people will just do what they want. They have no rabbinic authority they listen to. Yes. Is there anything you can do about it? Probably not. But the problem is it makes everybody look bad. Makes everybody look bad. I mean, for goodness sakes, someone who's a soldier, a Jew is going to call him a Nazi? Like, come on. They're protecting you. You have to have the utmost respect for them. Regardless of what goes on in the army, doesn't matter. They're protecting you. You spit at them. Call them Nazis? Are you going to be kidding me? There are some people that do. Not saying it's right. By any stretch. Not condoning it. These people have to be called out. They're insane. I care what you think the army does, and they think it's our power and whatever, and we don't need God or whatever. Okay, but they are physically, they're protecting you. They are protecting you. You're gonna say, what? We don't need an army? Just gonna believe in God? No. Even time of King David, you needed an army. You need a standing army. For sure. Not to say, oh, we're going to rely on God, everything's going to be good. You need a standing army anyway. Regardless of what you say about the army and the heresy and all that, they are protecting you. How do you spit in the face of someone who's protecting you? You're going to say, where's the law? It doesn't make any sense. What about their upbringing, this and that? Yeah, there's a lot of issues. We're our own worst enemy. There are a lot of issues. Not whitewashing it, not saying it's right. How do you have people, I mean, no one accepts them, look like Orthodox Jews, go to Iran and like kiss up to Ahmadinejad and all them, you know, and Arafat and whatever, they're anti-Zionist. Great, I'm also an anti-Zionist. Okay, so does that mean I'm going to hang out with my enemies? I'm going to hang out with my enemies? That I should be destroyed? Even if you believe the same thing. You know, you're against the Zionists, whatever, until the Messiah comes and you build up the state, blah, blah, blah. Very good. You can hold that. But to go that far, you go see Arafat and Ahmadinejad and, you know, these butchers and murderers and whatever. Nobody holds of them. Those are not a big deal. Yeah. Does it make us look really bad? Yeah, it does. Because they look like Orthodox Jews. You know, probably wearing, you know, Hamas bandanas saying, yeah, of course they deserve what happened. These people don't have anything up here. Yeah. So it's not about, you know, not just about, you know, my brother's keeper. I mean, we are all intertwined. So we have an obligation. We have an obligation to rebuke our brothers if you know how to do it. And sometimes even if you don't, you still have to do it. Yeah, but we're all intertwined. Someone does something wrong, makes everybody look bad. And in the land of Israel, it's 10 times worse. 10 times worse. Somebody asked, if you live outside of Israel, should you vote on the election of the president, government, etc.? So many would say yes. Many would say yes. Why? You can have an influence. You know, a lot of Orthodox Jews, you know, in America, they vote. They vote for their, you know, someone who's going to be, you know, in their best interest. You know, and they got clout. They have, you know, they have numbers. You know, in the bigger scheme of things, it's small, but local things, they have numbers. So a lot of people say you got to get out to vote, for sure. Because you want someone's going to look out for your interests. See, where I grew up was a big leftist state, so my vote wouldn't matter anyway. The leftists are going to win anyway, because they're by far the majority, by any stretch. But, you know, a person lives somewhere else. They would say you still vote anyway, okay. But, you know, you live somewhere else, you can have more of an influence, sure. You know, I think most people would say you should vote. You want to say, you know, my vote's not going to matter. You know, you want to vote for people. You're going to have your best interest. You're going to say, well, they're both bad. You're right. That's most likely the case. So someone's probably a little bit better than the other one. But you're looking out for your best interest, right? You know, the interest of Jewish people, right? Or you know, how they're going to deal with Israel, whatever, what their influence could be, right? That's what we're looking out for. Someone asks, you would hope I've seen how many Russians died just in the Ukraine war. They'd fight for Israel. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. You know, Ukrainians not lover of Jews. Let me tell you that. Russians no lover of Jews. Yeah, I said before and I'll say again. You know, as long as the Jews, you know, not being persecuted there, and hopefully a lot of them got out, you know, and they're in a safer place. However many people die on each side, they both have it coming. Why do they both have it coming? For exactly what they did to the Jews. A lot of Jewish blood, both places. Yeah, I don't feel sorry for either side. The only people I feel sorry for are Jews inside that are stuck. Right? That I feel bad for. But how many people are going to die and this and that, on both sides, doesn't matter. They have it coming. Both of them have spilled a lot of Jewish blood, and their blood will be spilled. It's a terrible thing to say. Nobody should die. You're right. Nobody should die. But you know how much Jewish blood they spilled? How many they persecuted? How many they made into communists? On both sides. On both sides. They've done horrific things. They have it coming. All of Europe has it coming. Yeah. A great Kabbalistic rabbi said that, the war of Gog and Magog, the first group that's going to get wiped out is not the ones closest to Israel, not Syria, not Lebanon, not any of these places. It's going to be Europe. Why? Because of all the Jewish blood that's drenched there. So nobody knows it's really going to be. The Malbim says that all the countries around Israel, they're going to get hit first by the war of Gog and Magog. He says not that way because of all the Jewish blood in Europe. Plenty of Jewish blood in Europe. He said they're going to get it first. Yeah? Yeah. If we're around and that happens, are we going to feel sorry for them? No. They have it coming. Esav has it coming. Esav's the Western world. They have it coming. Go take care of business, whatever that is. But all these places, and anything bad that happens to them, doesn't matter if their great-great-great-great-grandparents did it or not, they persecute tens of thousands of millions of Jews throughout the millennium. Tens of thousands. Killed, butchered, murdered, gassed. They got it coming. There's nobody innocent today. Nobody's innocent today. When it's your time, that's it. God's going to take you however he takes you. No such thing as anyone being innocent. You can say, but the kids are they're gonna pay for what the parents did. It's collective here. It's collective. Europe, can't imagine too many of the Europeans gonna, in that war gonna survive. You have some that are no-hides. Hopefully they'll survive. Everyone else is gonna get wiped off the face of the map. I'm not even talking about idolatry. I don't even care about that. Right? That's not even an issue. It's the people that have persecuted Jews and all the Jewish blood that's drenched. God's going to take huge revenge. Huge revenge. Against them. So this great rabbi says, they're going to get wiped out first. Totally wiped out first. But again, what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, except for the Jewish people stuck there, let them kill each other. They have it coming. Both sides. Both sides kill them. I know a few people grew up in the Ukraine, came here, or one went to America, then came here, came here. Vicious anti-Semites. Vicious anti-Semites. Nothing to talk about. Nothing to talk about. And the Russians are any better? They ain't any better. They are not any better. Now, again, it's not going to be so politically correct to say. But they have it coming, right? They definitely have it coming. Someone asked, should we be apolitical? Bottom line is, what goes on in the world and how, you get all these political pundits. They're going to say, this one will put their spin like this. This person will say like this. Someone else say like that. Oh, who cares? Who cares what they have to say? Got this expert in Middle East affairs. This one's an expert in this. Someone else, quote unquote, an expert in that. Well, I don't care what any of them say. I'll tell you why. Not just because we believe in the Torah and the Torah is true. Because what they say doesn't really matter. Because God runs the world. If God runs the world, guess what? What they say, it may be true, may not be true. God's going to plan it out however he wants. But who cares what they say? Who cares what they say? It's irrelevant. Right? But yeah. I would say, big waste of time following politics. Big waste of time. Right? If someone's going to tell me, by following this stuff is going to make them a better Jew or better JIT, let's hear the argument. I'd love to hear the argument. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. But, you got to ask yourself the question. Am I better off, does this make me closer to God or not? That's the question. Right? Now, person can say, well, I'm more well informed, I can inform others, this and that, try and sway people's opinions. God runs the world. It doesn't matter. Remember, Rabbi told me, if you're happy the way God runs the world 95% of the time, the other 5% you won't understand in 5 lifetimes. It doesn't matter. Your obligation is to sit and learn Torah. That's your obligation. All this other stuff, relevant. Irrelevant. What is someone saying bad things against Jews? What are you going to say? What in the world are you going to say? Someone who disparages Jews or makes fun of Orthodox Jews, you can try and defend them. You can try and defend them, but probably not going to listen. If you think you got an argument that they're going to listen to or their mind is open, one thing. Most people, mind's not open. So you can try and talk to them. It's like talking to a brick. Or two people talking like this. They're going in different directions. I gave up a long time ago. Someone asked me a question, I'll answer. Otherwise, someone says something, I'm not going to be baited. There's no point. You're not going to listen anyway, so. Why are you going to waste time on it? So if people say, terrible things, if you have what to say, you can say, no, Jews are not in control of the media. Jews don't do these things. Question is if there's anybody there to listen. That's the question. And I think most people have their own opinions based on probably nothing. They have their own opinions. You're not going to move them. Like I say, oh, that's the answer. Imagine, Elie Wiesel wrote all these books on the Holocaust. Yeah. Imagine he said, I get a real reason and a whole explanation what happened in this and that. You want to listen? He's not going to listen. Why wouldn't he listen? He's got an agenda. We always say anyone who's got an agenda, they ain't listen. We're not going to listen. You say, oh, really? That's the answer? No more books. Not going to write any more books. He wrote so many books about the Holocaust. I mean, it's tragic what he went through, for sure. Right? But I'm just pointing out there's an idea. Someone's got an agenda. You're not answering. It's like we always say, in the Haggadah, there are 4 sons. Right? The wise son, a wicked son, a simple son, and the son does not ask. The wise son and the wicked son ask pretty much the same question. The wise son, you give him an answer. The wicked son, you don't give him an answer. Why not? It says you blunt his teeth. And you tell him if he would have been there in Egypt, he would have been redeemed. So I would have said, draw him closer. Bring him close. Try and be Makarvin. Draw him close. Why not give him an answer? Why? Right? Why not give an answer? What's the answer? He's not interested in an answer. He's got an agenda. Yeah? Someone's got an agenda. You're not going to answer them. Unless they want to hear. But if they have an agenda, they don't want to hear. Right? So they're not asking the question. They're not asking a question. They're saying, I think Judaism discriminates against non-Jews. Did you hear a question? No question. You know what the answer to that is? Oh. That's the answer. Or you say, okay. Yeah? Say, I think Judaism discriminates against women. Now, people are going to get thrown off. They're going to say, no, what do you mean? The righteous women saved the Jews in, what do you call it? They're in, in Egypt, and the righteous women did this and did that. No, they didn't ask a question. Said, I think Judaism, listen to what they said. I think Judaism discriminates against women. What's the answer? Oh. I think Judaism should be more inclusive. Oh. Why do you keep saying no? Because you're not giving me a question. That's not a question, that's a statement. If I were to ask you that people would say that Judaism discriminates against women, what would you answer? Oh, that's a question. Then you ask the question. But when you make a statement, see, this is very hard for me. I'm telling you what to do. This is very hard for me. Because I want to answer like 10 things at once and just shut them up. But can't do that. Like someone was like, oh, yes, someone told me this the other day. I hate Netanyahu, and because of him, and all the protests against them, and this is what happened with Hamas, and the whole country was let down, and it's all their fault, and the right wing, the ultra-Orthodox government, it's all their fault. They brought it upon themselves. You know what I said to that? Nothing. Nothing. I did mention one thing. I said, when there's a left-wing government in power, there are also terrorist attacks. Oh, nothing like this. Whatever. That was it. There's no answer. This person made a whole bunch of statements. Right? Anti-Orthodox statements, anti-right-wing statements, all these things. Again, I'm very clear here. They made statements. They did not ask a question. There were no questions. Yeah, no question. They have to see if they want to hear an answer. But someone who has an agenda, you're already answering an answer. You can't answer an answer. Right? That's why by the evil son, you don't answer it. You just blunt his teeth. Because you're not going to hear an answer. That's what I would say. Someone asks, how do you choose between Ashkenazi and Sephardic? I don't know. You got to see what works for you. Check out some of the customs, see what they do. See if that's a good fit. That's what I would say. Someone asks, would it be fine if I share key materials from Rabbi Mizrach, Rabbi Yaron Ruvain among non-religious Jews in India? Why not? If you want to do it, go ahead. If you think they're going to listen, you think they're going to be open, why not? Somebody asks, we're supposed to put a government in place. That is true, right? So you have the ability to put in someone who's a little bit better than someone who's not. Okay, right? There's someone who's much worse and someone a little bit worse. So you take the one who's a little bit worse, right? That's what you're going to choose, right? In government, true. That what's best for you? What's best for Jewish people? Do they share my interests? That's what you're going to vote for, right? Are they both going to be good? No. They're all corrupt. That's what they talk about. Yeah, but all politicians are corrupt. So everyone's already aware of that. So the question is, who's worse than the other? That's the question, right? That is the question. Is no worthy candidate to president or party, right? And if there's no, I don't know. If there's nobody worthy, I would say don't vote. But, I guess it's a choice of, you got to see. You got to see who it is. You vote for none of the above. You got to see, if someone, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Some people say in the last presidential election they voted for Biden because they hated Trump so much. Okay. But it's not like they liked him. Not like, if there was someone else against them, they would have voted necessarily for Biden, but I'll say I voted for him because, I'm not going to vote for Trump, right? So, yeah, so that's not an easy question to answer. If you don't find anything, I'd say don't vote. But, if you're going to vote, you got to see. And if they're both bad for Israel, they're both bad against Jews. So then you don't have much of a choice, right? I would say. At the end of the day, whoever gets chosen, it shows that that's what God wants. Why? Don't know. Right? He'll put someone in power because he's got an agenda. He's going to give across something that God wants him to do. Okay? Might not make sense to us, but we're not running the world. So if we're not running the world, you let him do what he does. You let God do what he needs to do. But yeah, a lot of times you scratch your head and say, why did this happen? How did this person get in? This and that. Again, the political pundits will say, oh, it's because of this, because of that, because of the other thing. I'll tell you what the bottom line is. God wants someone in power, we'll put him in power. Yeah, for whatever reason. How can a Jew vote to appoint a leader who will rule over a country that has laws against the Torah? Thank you very much. Yeah, what's the answer? They'll tell you it's better to vote and have a say and be, and be in the government, so you can have a little more control than being outside the government where you have, no control. But again, the question is, if they're sitting with people that desecrate Shabbos and desecration Shabbos going right in front of your nose, they're getting some sort of kickback somewhere, or there's some reason why they're not, they're staying in the government without knocking it down. It could be favors, it could be money, it could be who knows what. Who knows what. But you're right. If it's desecration Shabbos right under their nose, they're guilty by association. Yeah, but they're gonna say it's better that than nothing. Yeah, yeah. So then someone says, okay, I thought someone didn't say country laws go against the Torah so much as a single yud, you can't fall rather rely on the law. That's a different issue. That's going against the law of the land. Right? And there could be a conflict. Could be a number of times. There could be conflict between the law of the land and Torah. Yeah, former Soviet Union, the law of the land was you can't do circumcision. Yeah, circumcision's forbidden. So what do? Torah says you get to circumcision. You can say, it's going to put your life in danger. Torah says you got to do it. Okay, so you try and do it in hiding, try and do it however you can. Right? That doesn't override. It doesn't overrule it. Right? So yeah, this is a much bigger topic. Right? This is a much bigger topic. There's certain things, you may have to go to jail for rather than transgress. No matter where you are. Teaching Torah was punishable by going to Siberia or by death. The former Soviet Union. A lot of people got, they got harassed, they got sent to Siberia or worse. But they had to teach Torah. They had to make sure the next generation learned Torah. Totally persecuted there. Yeah. Right? You had people who wanted to emigrate to Israel and they got stuck. What they called refuseniks, they got stuck. Lost their jobs, everything. And okay, but they were underground groups, teaching Hebrew, learning Torah, self-sacrifice, unbelievable self-sacrifice. You're right, the law of the land would say you can't do it, punishable by this, by that. You got to perpetuate Torah to the next generation the best way you can. That's how so many Russian Jews got totally messed up because of the whole system. A lot of them came out communists or worse. I don't know if that knows anything so much worse, but whatever. Why are Jews in training allowed to buy tzitzis? Right? Or it says you cannot sell tzitzis to a Jew, to a non-Jew, as a Jew. So go ask him. There are rabbinic authorities that you can. They're allowed to wear them before conversion. He'll tell you probably they're only allowed to wear it right before conversion. Difference of opinion. Difference of opinion. He's not the only rabbinic authority in the world. I was going to tell you, a kiruv rabbi in general is not a rabbinic authority. They're not a rabbinic authority. Yeah? So you can say, I'm a kiruv person also. Good. Right? I'll say what I know. I'll say what my rabbis tell me. Yeah? That make me, a guru of rabbinic authority? No. Now, if they give over halacha, they give over the right halacha. Very good. I don't have a problem with that. Teaching Torah, telling you what the halacha is, what the halacha isn't, and this and that. Okay. They have who to rely on, quoting sources. Okay. They're not the only opinion. Right? Let that ring loud and clear. They are not the only opinion. They'll say that's the halacha. Other people disagree with it. So what do you want? Other people disagree. Do you want to know why they disagree? Because if a person wants to learn how to be a Jew, what's the problem? He would probably say, let them do it right before conversion. Okay. Right before conversion. Now you know they're going to convert. Most people are going to end up converting. Right? It's a good point. That's a good point. The other rabbinical authorities will say, no. They're allowed to do it. They're allowed to do it. Why are they allowed to do it? Because they want to practice to be a Jew. But you say, but maybe they're not going to be Jewish, maybe. Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't have any converted. Then they won't wear them. But the claim is you're dressing up a non-Jew as a Jew before they're Jewish. Yeah, I hear the argument. They shouldn't be wearing tefillin, that's for sure. There's certain things they should never do until right after conversion. But people will say, don't overstep the boundary. So people like him will say, yeah, don't do it. Don't do it until right before conversion. And other people disagree. Right? Let me say that again. Other people will disagree, either on his level or bigger than him in learning. If they're bigger than him in learning, or even at the same level, they can disagree with him. He's not the final authority. Rabbi Mizrahi is not the final authority. There are people who can argue on them. Yeah? It's like, it's like in every generation. The Ritva, would disagree with the Rashba or the Ramban or whoever. They have a right to disagree with other people in their generation. If you tell me, they're my Rebbe and they're the greatest rabbi of the generation, now people disagree with what he says also. In a lot of things. Okay. But I would be very careful. Because if you're going to disagree with him, you better bring everything to the table. Because, no question about it, he'll flush every rabbinic authority in this generation. He'll put him in his pocket. He'll put him in his pocket, nothing to talk about. Yeah? You want to argue on him? Good luck. I've heard people say it. I think it's chutzpah. I think it's absolute chutzpah. You're not in this league at all. Not even close. If you're on the level to argue, good. If you're not on a level to argue, you don't have what to say. So what would you say if I said there are much bigger rabbinic authorities than them that disagree with them? What would you say? They don't have a right to disagree. They have every right to disagree. They're greater than them. They can bring their proofs and say, I hold to this rabbinic authority. Very good. I beg to disagree. Okay. Yeah. I'll leave it at that. A Kiyuv rabbi is not a final authority. Unless it's something explicit. If it's something explicit, it's black and white. Everyone agrees, or whatever. Okay. If there's a difference of opinion among rabbinic authorities, okay, it's his opinion against other people's opinion. Who do you hold like? Depends who you go like. Most likely, you ask your rabbi who you go like, either go like him or against him. Yeah, that's okay. That is definitely okay. But just because someone disagrees, doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. I've heard certain things people say that's not the... They're telling you this is halacha, but it's not true. This is misleading. There are other opinions that do not say that. So how can you say this is a halacha? Because they believe that this is what the halacha is. They're not bringing in other opinions to say not that way. That's a problem. That's misleading. That is misleading. If they say, listen, their other opinions disagree, very good. So other opinions disagree, okay. If they're saying there's a lot of nothing to talk about, but they don't bring in other opinions that disagree, but there are legitimate opinions hold something different, they're stating their opinion. Very good. But that's not to say that's necessarily the halacha across the board. If it's a halacha across the board, okay. If it's a difference of opinion, you can say it's a difference of opinion. That's what I would say. What was this? Do you know the way in Brooklyn there's underground? Yeah, I spoke about that before. You have to watch the beginning of this video. Yeah, someone there points out the facts or whatever. It was the whole thing. It was just the whole thing about making synagogue bigger, and a bunch of people, dug underneath, basically just dug underneath without permission from anyone in order to, they want to make it bigger or whatever, but without any permission from anybody. So yeah, that's what it was. So there's another way of making Jewish community look bad is forcing yeshivas, day schools, right? Take the vaccine. Okay, it's another issue. It's another issue. A lot of secular women are afraid of being controlled by Jewish society. I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. I'll say like this, that because I gotta end in a minute. There's certain standard in the Jewish community, in the ultra-Orthodox community. People are afraid, yeah, you're gonna be brainwashed. They're gonna tell you what to do and this and that. If there's a certain standard of what people do, people don't, people don't want to be uniform. They want to stand out. They want to, and this is a much bigger discussion, right? Maybe we'll hit this next week, but this is a much bigger discussion. But there are certain standards community has, the way you dress, how you wear, whatever it is, and you don't go against that standard. So people are afraid, oh, gonna be like that, gonna be brainwashed. Okay, there are other places not like that. You want to be more modern Orthodox, people wear all kinds of different colored shirts and different things. They don't wear black and white and a black hat and all that. They don't do that. Right? There is what to be said for being uniform. But people are afraid they're going to be brainwashed. They're going to be told what to do. If you live in a community, there are certain standards. You don't leave your brain open till your mind falls on the floor, right? There are certain standards you got to uphold by the certain standards. But people are afraid they don't want, they don't just be told what to do. They want to do whatever they want. They can't. If they want to fit in, they'll never fit in. That's my simple answer. I got to stop here because I got to run. I do this every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock Israel time. Anyone has any questions, find me on Facebook at Mike Chaim Kaufman, Beyond Orthodox Conversion to Judaism, orthodoxconversion.com. Beyond Orthodox Conversion to Judaism on YouTube. There I got videos on the third portion of the week. Q&As, Ethics of Our Fathers, Book of Leviticus, etc. You want to send me an email, rabbichaimkaufman@gmail.com, RBBI, CHAIM, COFFMAN @gmail.com, whichever good. Beginning of the day, middle of the day.